The night was deep, a gentle breeze rustled ancient leaves, olive trees stood like silent watchers, their branches gnarled, full of stories. This was Gethsemane, a garden for quiet thought, for prayer. The air was cool, scented with earth and the distant promise of dawn. Moonlight painted the ground in silver, shadows dancing mysterious. Jerusalem's lights flickered in the distance, a city unaware. In this garden a profound quiet reigned. Yet beneath the calm a current flowed, a sense of waiting, attention. Something immense was about to unfold. The disciples were nearby, tired from the Passover meal. They sought rest under the olive boughs, their breathing soft. But for one, sleep was impossible. His spirit was too heavy, too awake. He had brought them here, to this moment suspended in time. This garden, usually a sanctuary of peace, felt different tonight, charged, as if the very soil listened. The stars above, distant, cold witnesses, every rustle of a leaf, every sigh of wind seemed to carry a message, a prelude to a story of sacrifice, a story of incredible love and pain. The world held its breath. In the shadows, destiny waited. The olive grove whispered secrets only the night could hear, and the story was about to begin. Gethsemane was no longer just a garden, it was the threshold of history. Jesus walked a little further, away from his sleeping friends. He needed to be alone, with his thoughts, with his Father. The Passover meal had ended hours ago. Words of farewell of bread and wine lingered in memory. Now the weight of that promise pressed in. He found a secluded spot, perhaps a rock where he could kneel. The city's hum was a distant murmur. Here, only the sounds of nature and his own heart. He was a teacher, a healer, a guide, but tonight, he was also a son, facing darkness. His closest friends, Peter, James, and John, he had asked to stay near, to keep watch with him, for just 1 hour, a simple request, born of deep need. He knew what was coming: betrayal, arrest, pain. This quiet garden was the threshold, the last moment of peace before the storm. He knelt, the cool earth beneath him, the vast starlit sky above. In this moment, he stood between two worlds. Heaven and earth seemed to converge here, his purpose, his mission, crystal clear. Yet the path ahead was terrifying. He sought strength, connection, and alignment with a greater will. The silence pressed in, heavy and expectant. His prayer was not just words, but a wrestling of soul. The night deepened and so did his resolve, alone but not abandoned. The vigil was both a struggle and a surrender. In Gethsemane, the battle was already being fought. This was not just any night of prayer. In Gethsemane, everything changed. Here, Jesus confronted the fullness of his fate. The suffering that awaited him was immense, more than physical pain. It was spiritual agony. The weight of the world pressed on his shoulders. He was fully human, feeling all human emotion, fear, dread, deep sorrow. The desire for an easier way was natural. Who would not wish to avoid such an ordeal? This garden witnessed his profound humanity, his struggle, his vulnerability laid bare. Courage is not the absence of fear. This was the final, personal consent, the moment of ultimate surrender. He had spoken of it, taught about it. Now he had to live it. The prophecies, the scriptures all led here, to this quiet garden under these ancient trees. A choice made not with bravado but with a heavy heart and deep love. Gethsemane reveals the cost of his commitment. It shows the depth of his obedience. Before the cross there was the garden. Before the sacrifice there was the struggle. This human struggle makes his divine acceptance even more powerful. In the darkness the greatest decision was made. In the stillness his voice rose, not loud but filled with deep emotion. Abba, Father, he began a term of intimacy, of childlike trust. Everything is possible for you. Then came the plea, raw and honest. Take this cup from me. The cup symbolized the suffering to come. He did not hide his desire to avoid it. His humanity cried out for relief. Yet his prayer did not end there. The crucial words followed, "Yet not my will, but yours be done." This was the turning point within the prayer. The surrender of his personal desire to the greater purpose. His spirit wrestled and his spirit yielded. An act of supreme trust and obedience. The scriptures say his sweat became like drops of blood. Such was the intensity of his inner turmoil. He was alone in this, truly alone. His friends slept, unaware of his agony. But in that solitude he found his strength. He found the resolve to face what was to come. The garden became an altar of surrender. In agony he chose obedience, and in that choice history turned. He returned to his disciples 3 times, hoping for their support. Each time he found them sleeping, overcome by weariness. Could you not keep watch for 1 hour? His question was gentle, tinged with sorrow. Not anger, but understanding of human weakness. He urged them, "Watch and pray, so you will not fall into temptation." He knew the trials they too would face. Prayer was their strength, their connection to divine help. His words were a loving warning, a guideline for their own coming struggles. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He understood their intentions were good, but their bodies succumbed to exhaustion. This is a timeless truth about the human condition. Even in his own distress, Jesus showed concern for his friends. He taught them, even in these final moments, about spiritual readiness, about the need for vigilance against trials. His lesson in Gethsemane was not just for them, it echoes through time, for all of us. A call to stay awake to our spiritual lives, to be ready, even when we feel weak. The night was not just his trial, but theirs too. In their failure, he offered grace. And in his words, a challenge for every generation. Stay awake, your moment may come when you least expect it. Courage is often seen as fighting, as overcoming an enemy. But in Gethsemane, Jesus showed another kind, the courage to face the inevitable. He did not run, he did not hide. He chose to walk that path willingly. This is a courage born of deep conviction. Trust was at the heart of his prayer. Even when that plan involved immense suffering, it's easy to trust when things are good. But to trust in the face of darkness, that is a profound act of faith. Accepting a difficult path is not weakness. In Jesus' case, it was an act of power. The power to choose love over self-preservation. The power to embrace suffering for a greater good. He accepted the cup, not with joy, but with steadfast resolve. This acceptance transformed the suffering. Courage, trust, acceptance, these are not passive qualities, they require immense inner strength. Jesus showed us that true strength lies not in avoiding life's hardest challenges, but in how we meet them with our will aligned with something greater. In surrender, he found victory. We all have our Gethsemane moments, times when we feel overwhelmed, alone, facing decisions that fill us with dread, staring at a future that seems dark. It might be illness, loss, or betrayal, a crisis of faith, a moment of deep fear. These are the gardens where we wrestle, where our spirit feels heavy. Jesus' experience offers us a blueprint. It shows us it's okay to feel fear, to ask for the burden to be lifted. Honesty in our prayers, in our struggles, is vital. He did not pretend to be emotionless, his humanity was on full display. This gives us permission to be human too. The call to watch and pray is for us as well. When we are tempted to despair or to sleep through our spiritual challenges, prayer can be our lifeline, our source of strength. It connects us to a power beyond ourselves. It helps us find clarity, find courage. Even in darkness, we are not entirely without aid or light. His example of surrender, of not my will, can guide us in our difficult choices. Sometimes the path we least desire is the one we are called to walk. Accepting this can be incredibly hard, but it can also lead to unexpected peace. Gethsemane's lessons still speak to us today. In our own gardens we find our truest selves and sometimes our greatest strength. The struggle is not the end, it's the beginning of transformation. The Garden of Gethsemane was a place of shadows and anguish. Yet paradoxically, it is also a source of light, a beacon of hope for those in darkness. Even in the deepest suffering there can be meaning, there can be strength. Jesus did not find strength by avoiding the pain, but by moving through it with faith. His courage was not bravado, but quiet resolve forged in prayer. He faced the worst, and he did not break. This shows us that our own fears, while real, do not have to defeat us. We can find a similar resolve within ourselves. Trusting in a larger plan can be difficult, especially when life feels unfair. Jesus' trust in his Father's will, even when it led to the cross, offers a powerful example. It suggests that even in suffering, there might be a purpose we cannot see. The hope Gethsemane offers is not an easy hope. It's not a promise that life will be painless. Rather, it's the assurance that we can endure, that we can find strength in our vulnerability. Our moments of deepest struggle can also be moments of profound connection, and ultimately, of profound grace. The light shines brightest in the darkness. In every shadow, there is a glimmer of hope. Gethsemane teaches us to look for that light, and to carry it forward, even when the night is long. The garden's lesson is one of hope, born in the shadows. When Jesus prayed in Gethsemane, he felt alone. His friends slept, distant and unaware, yet in his deepest agony he was not truly alone. He was in communion with his Father. This connection was his anchor. It allowed him to face betrayal and arrest with calm dignity. We too, in our loneliest gardens, can remember this unseen companionship. The idea that there is a presence with us, a divine support that never truly leaves. This belief can change how we face our trials. It can transform fear into quiet courage, and despair into resilient hope. Finding this strength is a personal journey. It often begins, like Jesus's did, in honest prayer, in laying bare our fears, our desires, and then in seeking to align our will with a wisdom and love greater than our own. It's about listening in the silence for that still, small voice of guidance, that reassurance that we are not forgotten. The message from Gethsemane endures, a story of human struggle and divine grace. Even in our weakest moments, we can find the capacity to endure, to trust and to love, even in the face of pain. May we all find our unseen companion, and the strength to walk our paths, knowing we are held always in greater hands. The garden's lesson is never truly over.